Good day, folks. It's Tony Fortunato from the technology firm. Today we're going to do a little lab, and I want to illustrate what the impacts of offloading is when you troubleshoot. And now I've done similar articles in the past, and every time I do it, I get a lot of response. So obviously this is something people want to know, so I thought I would dig in a little bit more. So I'm going to jump right into it. Here's the lab. We've got our client here. He's going to be running Wireshark. He's connected to my network critical SmartNA-XL. It's a packet broker / tap. And from here, it's connected to the switch, which in turn is connected to the FTP server. So that's our path. Client, tap, boom, switch, server, in. It's an FTP server, so we're obviously using FTP. I'm going to talk about that as well. And up here, I've got another laptop sitting here on the monitor port, and it's going to also run Wireshark. So I'm going to capture from here, I'm going to capture from here, and I want to show you the difference in the two captures. Along the way, I'm going to give you tips and tricks on how I did this lab, because there's a lot of people who want to know this stuff for some reason. So I'm going to share what I do in the lab here. And I'm going to say 99% of what I cover here is always covered in my, my classes, right? Either personal one-on-one training or corporate training. So let's get right into it. So here we go. I'm using my network critical SmartNA-XL. It's a packet broker / tap type device. And I've set up 3 ports here. I'm going to show you how to quickly configure them. And you can do this obviously with your tap as well. A is going to my client, B is going to my switch, and C is my packet capture device. So I'm just going to go to A. I'm a big fan of labeling descriptors. So I'm just going to label this client. B, I'm going to label a switch. And if you know what port, you can say port, for example, 18, whatever it is, or the switch name, make it easy for yourself. And then C is my capture device. There we go. Now we actually need to get some traffic flowing, because right now these 2 ports are isolated. So what you need to do is simply click on A, drag to B, let go. Click on B, drag to A, and there you go. So now these 2 ports are passing traffic. So the client goes into A, comes out of B, into the switch, and off to the network. C is me. So I'm doing the monitoring. I'm going to monitor these ports. So I'm going to click on B and drag to C. And I'm going to click on A and drag to C. Done. Going to hit apply. And it's just that easy. So if you want to use a CLI, you can do that. And even within this interface, there's another place where you can set up your mappings as well. So that's how I set up my tap. So here's the 2 trace files that I'm going to collect. One is from my machine that's in the tap. And then this one in the background is from the actual client. So they're 2 different captures. Same capture filter, right? So I'm going to capture filter on the destination, the server in this case. So I get them both. And right off the bat, I can see some interesting stuff. So for example, on this side, you can see 1514 for the frame length. And on here, on the client side of things, you can see it's 2,900 and 5,800. So in the article, in the video coming up, I'm going to go through this trace file in a little bit of detail just to show you what that means, how to fix it, and how to avoid those analyses that are thrown up at you that are not correct. I figured before we jump into the packets, I might as well take a step back. For the people who haven't seen the previous articles, this is about offloading and, more importantly, IP, TCP. Doesn't matter what protocol it is. Offloading is the same concept, where you send a lot of data down and then you let the driver worry about it at the end of the day. So the application is sending a lot more down the pipe than it normally would as far as Wireshark's concerned. So Wireshark will see this big, huge frame go by, and it's only because it hasn't been segmented yet. So if you go to your Ethernet adapter, it may or may not have these settings. So please don't write and ask me why you don't have this or it doesn't look like yours. Everyone is completely different, all right? So you go to your card properties, in this case is my Ethernet card, and I can see right here, IPv4 checksum offloading, transmit and receive, right? So you can say disabled if you want, all that kind of stuff. I talked about in other articles why you might want to disable that, but I just want to show you where this is right now. Same here, large send offload, IPv4, IPv6, version 2, so on and so on. So depending on your card again, you may or may not have these settings. You might have more, you might have none, who knows? But that's what we're talking about here. onto the trace files. So on the left-hand side here, I've got the client trace. This is what the client captured as it sent data. And on the right-hand side is what I captured from my SmartNA packet broker, TAP. So you can see from the client's perspective, it sent 2,974 byte, this packet, which I know is technically incorrect, because if we look at our good old SYN/SYN-ACK, we can see we have a SYN from the server, and his maximum segment size is 1,460. The client's is 1,460. So I'm expecting a maximum TCP payload of 1,460. Well, in this case, the length is 2920. See that? It's not 1460. It's actually 2 full-size segments, right? And then if you go up further down, look, 11,000, 14,000. So I know these aren't correct, right? This is not what came out on the wire. This is just what Wireshark is seeing before it comes out of the NIC card. So here we go on the TAP side of things, and you can clearly see the correct full-size packets that I wanted to see. So if I take a step back here, this 2974, you can see it has an IP identifier. Let's find this now. This like kind of serial number, if you will, 20639. I'm going to gamble, right? Because it's right near the top, so I'm going to gamble. There's a SYN, there's a SYN, there's an ACK, there's an ACK. I had the same filter on both traces, so this might well be that same packet. Let's find out. And I can see here the identifier is 20639, 20639. There you go. See that? So that big fat packet popped out here as 1514. Now watch this. I'm going to click on the second one that I saw on the wire, and it's 20640. It's the next number, 39 and then 40, right? 39 and 40. Well, if we come over here, we'll check the next packet. It's 5K, and look at that, 20642. See that? So on this side of the fence, if I'm trying to find all of these packets here, I'm not going to. In some instances, you might have these duplicate ACKs or suspected drop packets, that kind of stuff, because the analyzer's not quite finding them all, right? And it really trips people up. So just as a rule of thumb, real quick, because I don't want to make this too long, I talk in my classes that we have to get that three-way handshake. So let me just focus in on here again, just this three-way handshake real quick. And I'm actually going to zoom in just so you can see this better. And we can see there's our SYN, right? And again, we have our maximum segment size 1460, maximum segment size 1460. So again, I'm expecting my maximum TCP payload of 1460. That's also an indicator of health. When people say how healthy is the application, how well does the application work? Is it optimized? Is it working efficiently? All those kinds of keywords. This is one of the things we use, right, amongst other variables. So in this case, a good KPI to look at is the maximum segment size, 1460, 1460, and then we have a big piece of data come across the wire, 1460. Look at that, 1460. So that's just a really quick snippet, because I didn't want to make this video too long, on capturing packets from a device, sending data, and then capturing it from a TAP as well as a second party on the wire. Now, again, this is sending data. Now, if the client received the data, it would have been segmented and chopped up, and this would not be an issue. So this is only an issue when you capture packets from a device that is sending data. All right? Have a good day, folks. Bye for now.